Good morning. Here I'm going to discuss one new topic, that is blood groups and the blood transfusion. In this topic, we will discuss what are the different types of blood groups and what the indication of the blood transfusion, why the blood transfusion is important, what are the different hazards of the mismatched blood transfusion. In this 15 or 20 minutes, we will cover all this. The blood group systems are there are primarily of three types. The major blood group system, they are based on the presence of the agglutinogens and are found in the majority of the population. And the reason for the worst cause of the transfusion reactions, these are the two types. The classical ABO blood group systems, the RH factor, the blood grouping system, the RH factor here, the CDE is nothing but the antigens which are present as the three different types of antigen, the C antigen, D antigen, and E antigen. The minor blood group systems, they are based on the presence of agglutinogens and are found in the small proportion of the population, occasionally produce mild blood transfusions. They are of two types, the MN blood group systems and the P blood group systems. There are other different types of the minor blood group systems. There are so many other blood group systems which are not very important because they are not play a very vital role in the the worst transfusion reactions. That's why it is not important to test all those. Landsteiner law. The Landsteiner law proposed by the Karl Landsteiner in 1900. The two laws, if an antigen is present on the cell membrane, the law states that if an antigen is present on the cell membrane, that the corresponding antibody must be absent in the plasma. And if an antigen is absent from the cell membrane, then the corresponding antibody must be present in the plasma. These laws are applicable only on the classical ABO blood grouping system. The law is not applicable to the other blood groups because there are no naturally occurring antibodies in this system. The classical ABO blood group system, the classical ABO blood group system is based on the presence of A and B agglutinogens on the cell membrane. What are they? They are complex oligosaccharide differing in the differing in terminal sugar. These are located in the cell membrane as well as other tissue like salivary gland and pancreas and kidney. The antigen on the RBC membranes are the glycolipids, while in the tissue and the body fluids, they are soluble glycoproteins. The NT and NTB refer to the antibody which are found in the blood plasma, which reacts or acts with the antigen and antigen A and B. There are two types of agglutinins, alpha 1 and alpha proper. They are IgM types and are globulins which cannot cross placenta. The alpha and beta act at the low temperature and are known as cold antibodies. So the IgMs, the antibodies, the only one types of antibodies which can cross the placenta, which is IgG. It is important to know this fact. The types of blood groups, the blood group A, B, AB, and O. In India, the blood group B is present around in 40% population, and blood group O present in around 30%. And these two makes the most common blood group present in Indian population. The inheritance of blood groups, agglutinin A and B, the ABO phenotypes and the possible genotypes. The blood groups A, the phenotypes consist of the genotype AA and AO. The blood group B consists of the genotypes BB and BO, and the blood group AB consists of the genotype AB, and the blood group O consists genotype OO. RH blood group systems, the RH antigen, based on the presence of RH antigen, the two types of blood groups are described: RH positive blood group, RH negative blood group. The RH antigens were discovered by the Landsteiner and Wiener in 1940. Three types of antigens, the CDE has been recognized. The D is the commonest antigen and produces worst transfusion reaction. The RH antigens are the integral membrane protein. These are not found in the tissue other than RBC. The antibodies, there are no natural antibodies of Rh antigens, while in ABO system of blood grouping or alpha or beta antibodies are always present naturally if the appropriate antigen is absent, which you earlier I mentioned about the Karl-Landsteiner law, which is applicable only for the ABO blood group system. The inheritance of the Rh antigen, the Rh antigen D antigen inherited as a dominant gene D. The Rh positive individuals may have two genotypes, DD, the capital D and capital D, homozygous, and the capital D and a small d, that is heterozygous. The genotype of Rh negative individuals is the small d, DD, which is a Rh negative. The mechanism of hemolytic disease of newborn in Rh incompatibility. The entrance of Rh positive fetal RBC inside the Rh negative mother circulation during the first pregnancy. It happens not during the pregnancy, but it happens during the at the time of parturition. The production of Rh antibodies in the mother are Rh incompatibility reaction during the first pregnancy, not most of the time, not in the first pregnancy, but here it is wrongly written. It is mainly the Rh incompatibility reaction during the second pregnancy. Okay, so this should be corrected that the Rh incompatibility reaction mostly happens in the second pregnancy unless and until the mother has not transfused the Rh positive blood earlier in their life before pregnancy. Manifestation of hemolytic disease of newborn. There are four different types of manifestation. One is erythroblastosis fetalis. The second one is Icterus gravis neonatorium, Kernicterus hydrospitalis. In erythroblastosis fetalis means, as the name suggests, there are different erythroblasts. Erythroblast means the immature RBC are present in the blood circulation, and here there is appearance of large number of erythroblasts which is present in the peripheral blood, and that's why it is known as erythroblastosis fetalis. Why it happens that more and more immature RBC are present in this in the peripheral blood circulation. It is basically babies attempt to rapidly replace the hemolyzed RBC. Understand what I am saying, that when the Rh there is a Rh negative and Rh positive blood agglutinates, there is a destruction of the RBC, and this destruction leads to to compensate the loss of the RBC. The babies try to produce more and more RBC, and in this course there is more and more immature RBC comes in the blood circulation, and that's why this is manifestations which you see in the erythroblastosis fetalis. The second one is Icterus gravis neonatorum. What is Icterus? This is Icterus means, you know that Icterus is nothing but the jaundice, and the jaundice is a yellowish discoloration of the skin and the mucous membrane. And here what happens, it occurs within 24 hours of birth due to excessive formation of bilirubin. Why? You know that the bilirubin is the end product of the hemoglobin the hemoglobin degradations. So if there is more and more RBC destructed, more and more hemoglobin is destroyed, and the more and more bilirubin is produced. So if the child develops the jaundice in the first 24 hours, it is not physiological jaundice, it is a pathological jaundice. And in this way, you should be whenever you find the jaundice in the first 24 hour in any child, you should be cautious, you should be very you should be very careful regarding that. It could be a pathological jaundice. So nothing you understand why this Icterus gravis neonatorium happens. That the third thing is Kernicterus. It is a neurological syndrome. Kernicterus is a neurological syndrome occurring in newborn. Why it happens? Because in the child, the blood-brain barrier is not mature enough to protect this the brain from the excessive bilirubin enters into the into the brain. So you know what happens, there is a more and more RBC production, more and more hemoglobin destroyed, more and more bilirubin is produced. So this excess so it is the hyperbilirubinemia states which produces the excess the hyperbilirubinemia states. So when the excess bilirubin is present in the circulation and the immature blood-brain barrier is not enough, not protect this baby from the hyperbilirubinemia, and this bilirubin enters into the brain and causes some permanent damage, some neurological syndrome. Actually, this bilirubin mostly affects the basal ganglia and producing the disturbance of the motor activity. So it is very, very important to understand. And when this characteristics happen, when the serum bilirubin level exceeds more than 18 milligram percent, then the kernicterus happens. So what is hydrospitalis? The fetus is grossly edematous. It occurs when the hemolysis is very severe. When the hemolysis is very severe, usually there occurs in it usually there occurs intrauterine death of fetus if born prematurely, or even at term the infant dies within a few hours. So these are the four types of manifestation, and according to the severity of the hemolytic this Rh incompatibility and the agglutinogens and agglutinins reactions, these different types of manifestations takes place. One is erythroblastosis vitellis, when the more and more immature RBC is present in the blood circulation. The icterus gravis neonatal, when the child develops the jaundice in the first 24 hours, and kernicterus is where the child develops some neurological syndrome due to the bilirubin enters into the brain due to the immature the blood brain barrier, and causing some permanent damage, particularly the motor activity. It affects motor activity due to the deposition of bilirubin into the basal ganglia. And the fourth one is heterospitalis, is the severest form of the manifestation of hemolytic, the mismatched RH incompatibility. So this hydrospitalis, the child may be there is maybe intrauterine death, or if even the child there is a delivery of the child at the term, but the child will not survive after the birth. Then the prevention and treatment, how to prevent the prevention of hemolytic disease of newborn. It can be prevented by injecting the single dose of Rh antibodies, NTD, in the form of Rh immunoglobulins to mother soon after the childbirth. The treatment of hemolytic disease of newborn, it can be done by the replacement of the baby's Rh positive blood with the Rh negative blood. This is a exchange transfusion. The clinical application of blood grouping, the one is in blood transfusion, in preventing hemolytic disease, in paternity disputes, in medico-legal cases, and in susceptibility to disease. Uh, uh, blood transfusion is a life-saving measure and should be carried out when it is essentially needed. What are the different indications? The one is blood loss for quick restoration of hemoglobins. The second one is exchange transfusion, certain blood disease and acute poisoning. In blood loss, maybe the acute blood loss or the chronic blood loss. For quick restoration of hemoglobins is required when you go for a certain surgery and the patient hemoglobin is very low, and in that cases, if the uh, surgery is very important and very essential to do, then you do the blood transfusion. The third one is the patient, if the patient is very sick and is developing some dyspneic symptoms, the shortness of breath on exertion, and the patient is very weak. In that conditions, if the blood hemoglobin level is very low, in that situation also the blood transfusion is very helpful. In the exchange transfusions, there are certain exchange transfusions. There are certain places where exchange transfusion is required, where you understand the particularly in the Rh incompatibility, where the exchange transfusion is one of the indication for the blood transfusion. The blood disease, the most common blood disease where the blood transfusion is required, that is thalassemia, and in acute poisoning, in the carbon monoxide poisoning, it can be of some help. So these are the some indications for the blood transfusion. The precaution to be observed during the blood transfusion, one is it is always important to do this blood transfusion in absolute indications, because there are certain absolute indication and certain relative indications. But the blood transfusion should always be carried out during due to this absolute indications. Then the cross matching must be the blood should be cross matched before the blood transfusion. So what is cross matching? The cross matching are the two types. The one is major cross matching, another minor cross matching. The major cross matching, when the patient the recipient plasma and the donor cell, when you take the recipient plasma and the donor cell, and if there is a agglutination takes place, it means the major cross matching is positive, and it means that there are different other types of antibodies present in the recipient plasma, which can destroy which can destroy the donor RBC. The second one is minor cross matching. In minor cross matching, the donor plasma and the recipient RBC. In this condition, if the minor cross matching is positive, that can be the blood can be transfused, but only in an emergency situation. But if the major cross matching, and it should be the major cross matching and minor cross matching should be negative, and then the blood should be transfused. The Rh positive blood should never be transfused with the Rh negative person. The donor blood should always be screened. What is screened for the different types of communicable disease. We know the different types of the blood-borne disease, like HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C. This VDRL for the syphilis. There are different important STD which can be transmitted through the blood. So these are the other important. The blood should be properly screened. The blood bottle should be checked. That this is very important, where sometimes it is a common human mistakes, which you don't check the blood bottle before going for the blood transfusion. So this is one of the important aspect of the blood transfusion. The blood transfusion should be given at a slow rate to produce some the transfusion reactions. Then the proper aseptic measures you understand, because whenever you do this blood transfusion, you should take all the aseptic measures which you take in any kind of infusion. So it is very important to take all the proper aseptic measures. Careful watch on the recipient conditions. When you do the blood transfusions, you should be very careful, very watchful during the blood transfusion, particularly the early phase of blood transfusion. So you see the conditions, so you see the vitals of the recipient. Your vitals should be stable, the blood pressure should be stable, the pulse, blood pressure, the pulse, and the respiratory rates. And any kind of transfusion reaction, if you see the transfusion reaction, you just stop the blood transfusion and try to give some symptomatic or the supportive measures which is required for the patient, for the stabilizing the patient. Hazards of blood transfusion: one is mismatched transfusion reaction, circulatory overload, transmission of blood-borne infection, pyrogenic reaction, allergic reaction, hyperkalemia, hypercalcemia, reduced tissue oxygenation, hemosiderosis, thrombophlebitis, and air embolism. In the circulatory overload due to the hypovolemia may occur following the blood transfusion when the transfusion is rapid, especially in patients with the cardiac disease, the chronic anemia, and the kidney disease. These are the three important patients which you should be very careful when you transfusing the blood. The transmission of blood-borne infection, there are chances when the blood is not properly screened for the AIDS, HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, malaria, syphilis. So then the chances of transmission of blood-borne infections are there. The pyrogenic reactions, characterized by the fevers and chills, may occur probably due to the destruction of the leukocytes and the platelets by antibodies against them. It is very common reactions which occurs, but it is not very the fatal reactions. The allergic reactions such as skin rashes and asthma may occur if donor blood contains substances which patient is allergic. And then the hyperkalemia means the increase in the potassium level due to the excessive transfusion, because potassium concentration in stored blood is high. That's why the hyperkalemia is one cause. The hypocalcemia producing tetany may occur following the massive transfusion of citrated blood. Why? Because citrated blood causes the causing uh, uh, the hypocalcemia, because the citrates are the chelating agents which chelates the calcium ion, which leads to the decreased serum calcium level, and that produces the hypocalcemic tetany. The reduced tissue oxygenations may occur in patients receiving large amounts of transfusion. Red cell in stored in blood have very low amount of 2,3 dpg, and you know that when the less 2,3 dpg, 2,3 dpg is important for the uh, oxy the shift of the oxyhemoglobin curves to the right, and the less 2,3 dpg which shifts the curve oxyhemoglobin curves to the left. So the left curve means the less affinity of the hemoglobin for the oxygen, so that's why it reduces the tissue oxygenation. Then the hemosiderosis due to the iron overload may occur following the repeated blood transfusion, particularly in thalassemia patient. And the thrombophlebitis pain and ear embolism is very rare complications of the blood transfusion, is the entry of air into the blood during this the blood transfusion. So it's a very rare phenomena. The mismatched transfusion reactions happens. There are different manifestations of mismatched blood transfusion. Uh, this is agglutination of donor red cells in the recipient circulation. The tissue ischemia occurs due to the blockage of certain vessels by agglutinated cells. That leads to tissue ischemia. Hemolysis is agglutinated red cells occur rapidly, raising large amount of hemoglobin in the circulation. Then hemolytic jaundice, if there's more and more RBC destroyed, more and more hemoglobin is destroyed, and more hemoglobin is destructed, the more and more bilirubin is produced, that produces the hemolytic jaundice. Then the renal vasoconstrictions uh, is caused by the toxic substance released from the hemolyzed RBC. The circulatory shock occurs due to loss of circulating red cells and release of toxic substance, leading to the fall in the arterial blood pressure and decreased renal blood flow. This is circulatory hemoglobinuria. The more and more hemoglobin, the amount of total free hemoglobin becomes more, and that is which cannot bind. All the hemoglobins are not bind with the haptoglobin, which is a plasma protein binding for the hemoglobin, and this extra free hemoglobin leaks through the glomerulus membrane and passes in the urine, and this passage of the passage of hemoglobin in urine is known as hemoglobinuria. Renal tubule damage, if urine is acidic and the glomerular filtration is low, the free hemoglobin passing through the glomeruli is precipitated in the tubule as acid hematine, and this obstructs the lumen of the tubule, producing the renal tubular damage. So this is very important, and this is known as ARF. This is known as acute renal failure. That leads to the acute renal shutdown. This is means anuria. There is no production of urine, and this anuria leads to the uremia, means increased nitrogenous substance in the potassium in the body is known as uremia. So these are the different uh, uh, manifestation of mismatched blood transfusion, and the severest one or the fatal one is acute renal failure or acute renal shutdown, which is as a fatal conditions, uh, uh, which should be corrected, which should be avoided when you properly uh, take care of all the precautions, and you are very watchful during the blood transfusion. The Autologous blood transfusion refers to the transfusion of an individual's own blood, which has been withdrawn and is stored. It is done for the following reason: for elective surgery, during surgery, and some sports person. Storage of blood for transfusion: 1 unit of blood is 420 ml, can be collected from the donor under all the aseptic premixes. ACD mixtures 120 ml is added to the blood and is stored in the sterile container. What is the contents of ACD mixture? One is acid citrate monohydrous 0.48 grams, trisodium citrate 1.32 grams, dextrose 1.47 grams, and the anticoagulant decreases the pH. Distilled water is 100 ml. Up to 21 days, the blood can be stored.